Hey everybody, welcome back. As you can see, we made it here.
Yeah, it was a nice drive up here. It took us about 3.5 hours. We are in Savannah, Georgia. We're staying on Tybee Island at a campground called River's End Campground. And of course, we'll give you a tour of this campground and a little review of it. And we'll take you along on some of our adventures here in Savannah. So stick with us. It should be a fun time here. So welcome to River's End Campground here in Tybee Island, and we're going to start this tour of the campground right from our entry point with the camera on top of the fifth wheel, so it gives you a good idea of what it's going to be like to navigate your rig, especially if you have a larger rig in this campground. And there are going to be a couple of overhead obstacles here in the park. There's the first one just before you get to the office, and I did have to go around that a little bit. Once you get done checking in, they're going to assign you or bring somebody out to escort you to your campsite, so you won't have to be driving around the campground looking for your site. As you can see, they are narrow streets. Most of them are one way, so it's nice that they get you there the first time.
So one thing we wanted to make sure we mentioned was that when you get your email confirmation for booking your site here at the park, they include some directions to the park, and you want to make sure that you follow their directions and not your GPS, because there are a lot of low-hanging trees along Route 80 in Savannah.
Yeah, and even if you're using a RV GPS, it's not going to pick that obstacle up because it's tree limbs. It's not bridges or anything like that. So as you can see, there's more low-lying stuff here. Fortunately, it's just the Spanish moss hanging down in this case, but with the camera up on top of the rig, you get an idea of how low some of this stuff does hang down. So just use caution making your way through the park, because you never know what you're going to run up against. And here's an example right now. Just watch for the kids, obviously, because they're not watching for us. As you can see, some of these corners are a little bit tight here. This is an older campground, so obviously when it was built, it wasn't built for big rigs. So we're actually sneaking through a pull-through site here to get to our site. Otherwise, we were going to have to back down the whole street. And as you can see, I take every inch I can to get around the corners here. But we made it without any scratches or dents.
You did good.
So now that we're all set up, we'll give you a look at our site. This is a full hookup site with water, sewer, 50 amp service, and cable TV. And it's what they call a preferred site, which apparently their preferred sites are larger sites than others. So
It was pretty nice, I thought.
it wasn't bad.
Minus the insects. Definitely bring some bug spray along.
Yeah, especially in the morning. So here I'm going to jump on the bike and give you guys a little tour of the campground. And this is actually from the street outside the park. So you can see a lot of these sites up front are right along the street. Fortunately, it doesn't appear to be a very busy street. And the speed limit is, I think, 25 miles an hour. So you're probably not going to be too bothered by the traffic. And as we turn back into the park, you'll see on the right-hand side these tents. There are some primitive sites over there. And you may not notice in this shot, but probably when we were coming in with the fifth wheel, They have leveled pads. I believe they're just packed sand for these tents, so you don't have to worry about being on an unlevel site if you're coming with a tent.
I thought that was pretty nice.
Yeah, not too many campgrounds do that. And you can see as we make our way through the campground, there are sites of all different sizes. Most of the larger sites are up front by that street. And right next to the door for the office and the store where you check in, to the right of the Coke machine is a vending area, and the far right they have laundry facilities. And in the back of the park they also have cabins that you can rent if you don't have an RV. And right there to the left is actually their swimming pool, and this is a picture of it. We didn't get any video of it because it was full of kids that day, and YouTube's kind of funny about filming kids, so we just didn't do it. But it is a nice pool.
It is. Looks very nice.
I think their claim to fame is the largest pool on Tybee Island. I don't know if that's true, but that's their claim to fame. There was not a playground in this campground, but I'm assuming everybody that camps at this campground is probably here for the beach or some other reason. And so we'll jump on the bikes and show you around a little bit and show you some things that are in close proximity to the campground here. If you go out of the campground, take a right and take the first right. This street will dead end and there'll be access to the beach, or one of the beaches. This is actually the beach on the Savannah River.
So this little area of the beach, or this end of the beach, looked nice as far as less crowds, waves not so strong. So if you got some little ones or something and you want to kind of distance yourself from the bigger waves or a crowd of people, this might be for you.
Yeah, this is at the mouth of the Savannah River, so you're not going to get the actual ocean waves there. So we're going to hop on the bikes and ride down the beach, which we often like to do when we're somewhere with a beach.
And this just curves right around to the North Beach, and there's a parking lot down there. You can access the beach from their parking lot. You don't have to go the way that we took.
If you look off to the right of your screen here, as we're coming through these birds, you will see right there Tybee Island Lighthouse. And we'll take a ride over there and get a closer look at that. Unfortunately, it's still closed due to COVID, but we are able to look around and get some pictures and kind of get an idea of what it was like and a selfie or two. So the next morning we were up early to try to get a nice clear shot or video of a sunrise. Seeing as how we're on the Gulf Coast, we only get sunsets, so we thought it would be nice to get a sunrise. And this is the best we could do from the whole time we were on the East Coast, whether it was St. Augustine or Tybee Island. Mother Nature just didn't want to give us a completely clear day.
It was absolutely gorgeous, though. I don't think I would have been any happier seeing anything else, so I thought it was beautiful.
So after breakfast, we loaded up the bikes on the truck and we headed out for some sightseeing. And our first stop was Wormsloe Historical Site.
This place was amazing.
Absolutely. And of course, the first thing that we got to see was where Forrest Gump started to run. And it's about 1.5 lane back to the ruins. And if it seems a little wobbly, I apologize. I was trying to avoid potholes because we were riding our bikes. That's the nice thing about traveling with e-bikes, especially when you drive a big dually. You don't have to take that big truck in close to the sightseeing areas and try to find some place to park. You can bike in.
It was a gorgeous day for a bike ride.
Absolutely. A lot of nice trails back here. And seeing and learning about the ruins was absolutely gorgeous back there. This is what's left of Jones's Tybee house. The bike ride out was just as beautiful as the bike ride in.
Oh yeah, we couldn't have picked a better day.
So from here, it was off to Savannah. We spent the rest of the day down on River Street.
That street's so cool.
Yeah, this whole city is really cool. There's just so much history here. And some of the buildings, the way they've preserved them is just awesome. And of course, the famous waving girl. And I think we timed it just right. We got to see the River Queen coming back to dock. Unfortunately, we didn't have time for a cruise, but that would have been nice.
Definitely a place you want to go back and spend some more time.
Yeah, this is definitely a place I'd go back to. You can see this is just an example of some of the beautiful architecture.
And of course, the historic fountain dating back to 1858.
No trip to Savannah would be complete without a trip to Forsyth Park. And the next day we hit Fort Pulaski, which is just a short drive from the campground there on Tybee Island.
This place was amazing.
Yeah, I have never seen a fort, or I've never been to a fort yet that is more preserved than this one. And maybe there's some out there, we just haven't found them yet, but this one was definitely worth the trip. Not only is it well preserved, but you'll see a lot of plaques throughout the site here that kind of give you a little bit of the history and kind of a more of an understanding about what they went through. Some of these cannons were just, the way they have things preserved is just awesome. So here we are, day 8 of our return trip home already.
This pretty much wraps up our stay on Tybee Island.
Yep, Jonesin to go has officially left Georgia. So our stay at River's End Campground was a good stay. It's a campground, it's not a resort.
Nothing fancy, but it was nice and clean and doable.
What you see is pretty much what you get there. It's a campground. It's an older campground, so they're kind of struggling with bigger rigs. You can get them in there.
They have several spots that accommodate them. It's just, you know, you might need some guidance, like getting it in the actual spot.
Some of them are a little tight getting in, and some of them are like right along the road there. It's not. So there is a pool there, and that's pretty much it for their amenities other than the little camp store. But I'm guessing that people that are going to Tybee Island aren't going for that campground anyway. They're going for Tybee Island.
Yeah.
So you guys could see we did make a few little trips, some excursions over there. Wormsloe historical site was really cool.
Oh, that was really awesome. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, what was the guy's name? Nolan Jones?
I think so.
And I don't know, I'll have to maybe get into some genealogy and see if maybe he was one of my ancestors. I don't know. So, and then the fort was really cool.
But that's probably one of the nicest forts we've visited so far.
Oh yeah, we visited Fort DeSoto in St. Petersburg, and this fort by far is far more preserved with a lot more detail, so it was really neat. So if you come to Tybee Island, I definitely recommend that you guys make a trip over to Fort, what was that, Fort Pulaski?
Yes.
Very worth the trip. It was $10 a person to get in, and that was a 7-day pass, was it?
Yeah, your receipt, once you pay the $10 to get through the gate, then your receipt is good for 7 days.
So if you don't get it all in one day, you can go back. So that was kind of nice. The lighthouse, unfortunately, was still closed because of COVID.
That was a disappointment. I was hoping to go see that, but...
Well, I mean, we got some good photos.
Right.
We got a little bit of footage of it. It was nice to at least see it, even though we couldn't climb on top of it. So we have about a 7.5 hour drive today. This is going to be the longest drive day in our trip home, and we are going to harvest host tonight. So hopefully we'll get there in time before they close.
Taste some wine.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping to be able to do that before we just kind of unwind. And when we get there, I don't even think I'm going to level up yet. I just want to go in, taste some wine, relax. We had a little bit of a late start this morning because we had a bit of a mechanical issue, but fortunately it was something minor and we got that taken care of right away. But hey, when you're traveling with an RV, especially the amount of miles that we are, something's bound to happen sooner or later. So
just fortunate that it wasn't anything major.
Yep, and hopefully it just, the rest of the trip goes smooth. Hopefully I didn't just jinx ourselves. So that wraps up Tybee Island.
If you like what you saw, tap that thumbs up.
So we'll see you in Mount Airy, North Carolina, is where we're going to stop for the night tonight. and then we'll have just one more stop. We will get back to the state of Ohio tomorrow, probably the southern part of the state, and we're going to spend the night there and then just finish the trip home after that. So we'll see you up here in Mount Airy, North Carolina.
Thanks for watching.